Good evening, and thanks for joining me for the abridged version of News Hour. Is live on GTV and GBC News. Now the details. The Ministry of National Security is urging all religious groups in the country to institute security measures in their places of worship. The ministry, in a statement, explained that this is in view of the growing threats of terrorism in the sub-region and the expansionist drive of terrorist groups towards the coastal West African states, with a renewed modus operandi of targeting public gatherings, including places of worship. The statement said, although it is collaborating with the relevant state security and intelligence agencies to institute measures to avert terrorist attacks in the country, it is imperative that these religious groups also enhance security, particularly in areas where mass gatherings are conducted. The West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism, in its latest report, warned that Ghana is at high risk of terrorism following pockets of civil, political, and social unrest in parts of the West African sub-region. Still on security, police in the northern region have arrested 30 suspected criminals in a raid in some forests in the Tamale metropolis. The operation is in response to increased criminal activities in the metropolis and the region at large. Car snatching robberies have increased in the region in recent times.
Tamale has witnessed a rise in car snatching in recent times. High-value vehicles, especially Toyota Hilux, have been the target and stolen by criminals at gunpoint. The Ghana Highways Authority, the National Communication Authority, and a national executive member of the NDC, Chief Sofo Azoka, have all suffered this fate. According to the police, the metropolis has also seen a rise in robberies and break-ins, which have caused considerable apprehension among residents. The Northern Regional Crime Officer, Superintendent Bernard Baba Ananga, said some of these criminals are suspected to operate from hideouts in the forests.
The aim was to attack hideouts of criminals that we believe are perpetrating this kind of crimes within the metropolis, especially car snatching, residential robberies, highway robberies, and also break-ins that we experience of late. Our efforts aim at ensuring that we arrest the current development for all and sundry to live and execute their work peacefully.
The police is also urging the public to volunteer information to help them track down criminals and stem the tide of criminal activities in the metropolis.
Investigations are underway into circumstances which led to the death of a level 300 student of the Cape Coast Technical University on Friday night at Ola Estate in Cape Coast. Nana Ama Clark's body was found in a pool of blood without her private part. The Central Region Police says they had information around 9 p.m. on Friday that a female adult was found lying dead by the roadside at Ola Estate near the Ola College of Education in Cape Coast. The incident has shocked residents of the area who are calling on the police to ensure that the perpetrators are apprehended and dealt with. The body of Nana Ama Clark has since been deposited at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital mortuary pending further investigation. Back in Accra, to make alternative dispute resolution the most preferred, regulated and affordable mode of conflict resolution, the Ghana National Association of ADR Practitioners has transitioned from an association to become the first professional body for ADR practice in the country. The move seeks to reduce acrimony among disputing parties who would rather avoid the long court litigation. As the 9th annual conference and unveiling of its new status, President of the association, Mr. Daniel Owusu-Kuranten said conflict resolution mechanism must be premised on reconciliation, peace building and social cohesion.
The National Association of ADR Practitioners, NAP, champions the use of alternative dispute resolution in solving court cases to avoid prolonged family disputes as compared to the court litigation system. Speaking at its 9th annual conference and unveiling of the association's new status, President of NAP, Mr. Daniel Owusu-Kuranten, stressed the need for government to invest in the promotion of ADR through training to attract well-trained practitioners to handle cases that can be easily resolved using ADR, to reduce backlog cases created by the litigation system and make ADR accessible to the poor and vulnerable.
Now that we have become the only professional body in the ADR sector, we have to behave professionally. Members are going to be certified, and then we are going to take issues of ethics very serious and also get our members to understand that now we cannot do things as we were doing previously.
A justice of the Court of Appeal and judge in charge of ADR at the Judicial Service, Her Ladyship Irene Charity Labi, encouraged ADR practitioners to uphold the principles of their profession and ensure fair hearing of cases.
You are supposed to do justice with compassion, and you are also supposed to carry yourselves about in your communities as instruments of justice. In this profession, you don't talk anyhow, you don't behave anyhow, you don't do certain things. So I charge you accordingly.
The president of the Ghana ADR Hub and senior lecturer, Ghana School of Law, Michael Jang Osu, asked ADR practitioners to take a look at specialized areas to broaden their field of work. 12 new members were inducted into the association with a new logo unveiled to signify the NAP's new status.
Minimizing unemployment in the country centered discussions at the just-ended public lecture organized by the Presbyterian Church of Ghana in Accra. The lecture was on harnessing job prospects and opportunities in the trade industry.
Unemployment is one of the greatest challenges most governments find difficult to tackle. It remains a serious social and economic issue that results in tremendous impact on everything, with the youth largely affected. According to a United Nations survey, 40% of those who join rebel movements or criminal gangs that degenerated to national security threats did so because of lack of jobs, economic opportunities, coupled with unresponsive political systems. At a stakeholder forum on job creation organized by the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, the chief executive of InnoHub Limited, Mr. Nelson Amu, proposed some strategies he believes will help minimize the unemployment situation.
Ghana will need to consider an integrated jobs strategy that addresses barriers in the business climate, the lack of competitiveness of job creation sectors, and a comprehensive labor market regulations. Ghana needs to diversify its economy through gains in productive sectors like agribusiness, transport, construction, energy, and information technology, particularly in this new world of the gig economy and the virtual world realities.
The Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Lanche Martin, reminded the church of its role to support the government in creating jobs for the youth.
One of the cardinal strategic objectives of any church is to win souls. And part of the strategies to win souls is to ensure that you take measures that will affect the lives of the people. And obviously, that includes opening up job opportunities. Even if it's only for your church members, it goes quite a distance.
The moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Right Reverend Professor Joseph Obriyebua Mante, advised university graduates to be innovative in their career chosen paths.
Unless you are in a professional program in the university, your program is to prepare you to learn a profession. So history is good, economics is good, sociology is good, religion is good. But when you get a degree, it's open your mind to now begin to learn a profession. But I think several young people don't seem to understand that. But that is the fact of the case. I met a man in Adenta who has a master's degree, and he has a carpentry shop.
Right Reverend Professor Mante advised the youth and all citizens to uphold the principle of patriotism towards the development of the nation.
The gap and limitation in the labor law, as well as the weakness in the labor regulatory body, are the fundamental problem for the majority of working people in urban and rural Ghana. These remarks were from the director of the Institute of African Studies at the University of Ghana, Professor Doji Chikata, at an inaugural lecture in Accra. Speaking on the theme, "The Road Has Many Stories," encounters between the states and citizens of different Ghana. And regulations that govern employment relationships in Ghana are the Labour Act 2003, Act 651, and the Labour Regulations. The Labour Act provides a contractual implied term duty of mutual trust and confidence on both the employer and the employee. The Labour Act provides that all salaries, wages and allowances are payable in cash in addition to any non-cash remuneration. The law also indicates that no person can engage a child in exploitative labor that deprives the child of their health, education and development.
The state's labor regulation remit has excluded agrarian and informal labor relations. The gaps and limitations in the labor law, as well as the weaknesses of the labor regulatory body, are a fundamental problem for the majority of working people in both urban and rural Ghana. As we know, less than 20% of Ghana's working population are employees with formal contracts, regular hours of work, and so on and so forth. Domestic workers, kaya-ye, family workers, farm laborers, people in the fishing and mining communities, tenant farmers, and some of the workers lack holding power, and therefore they are unable to participate in the decisions that would benefit them.
Professor Doji Chikata also puts focus on the police service for lack of capacity in resolving conflicts in our communities.
Those who live in conflict-endemic parts of Ghana and in communities where illegal economic activities occur often contend with several challenges. One is the failure to resolve conflicts timeously and comprehensively. And this is often linked with flawed analysis of the causes of conflict, partisanship, and other interests, and the failure to harness community conflict resolution strategies.
Executive Director of the Kandifo Institute in Accra, Mr. Palgrave Boachi Dankwa, said government is working hard to bridge all the inequalities in the country.
The goal is that everyone that has an opportunity to come into political leadership would really look at the marginalized people in the community. And I'm very certain that our government continually, President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in the number of the policies that he's implemented ever since he came into office in 2017, all 16 flagship programs clearly focuses very much on meeting up to the inequality within the country.
Ayoyo soup is a green leafy soup thoroughly enjoyed, especially by tribes in northern Ghana. Ayoyo is a local name for juice or jute mallow or Egyptian spinach or bush okra. It is very nutritious leaf, rich in protein, calcium, iron, folate and dietary fiber. It's popularly served with tozafi or what's many call teasets. Indeed, there are a variety of recipes for these favorites, but let's hit the kitchen and go through the simple steps of preparing ayoyo traditionally.
The basic ingredients for ayoyo soup is ayoyo leaves or jute mallow or Egyptian spinach or bush okra. You also need bakposhito or habanero or scotch bonnet pepper, dawandawa, kanwe or bicarbonate of soda, water, and salt to taste. You can add herring and shrimp powder and any seasoning of your choice to make the soup tasty. This is optional though. First, remove the ayoyo leaves from the stalk. Make sure you take out the ones with holes in them. Wash in brine solution. Put water in a pot and put on fire. Add saltpeter when water boils and also add the ayoyo leaves in the boiled water and stir periodically. Pound your fresh pepper and dawa and add to the contents on fire. Next, add herring and shrimp powder. Once we are preparing this soup the traditional way, we will use a special broom used for cooking to continuously beat the leaves until it becomes slimy with bubbles. Let it simmer to preferred thickness. Correct seasoning with salt. Presto, your ayoyo soup is ready. Next on Chopology, we will show you how to prepare tuwo zafi and the stew that is added to ayoyo soup for that I want more feeling.
A conference of bishops, apostles, reverend ministers, and lay preachers of the gospel in the charismatic ministry in Ghana has been held in Accra. The conference reflected on the life, impact, and the continuous legacies of the late Archbishop Benson Idahosa and his contribution to the Christian community and the prophetic ministry across the globe.
The day's conference brought together members of the alumni of All Nations for Christ Bible Institute International. The Bible Institute was set up by the late Archbishop Benson Idahosa in Nigeria. A special delegation led by the son of the late Archbishop, Bishop Dr. Faith Emmanuel Benson Idahosa, visited Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams and Charles Hajinasari, respectively. Highlights of the conference include a strong global force of the alumni, ways to make the charismatic movement a force to reckon with, not only in the prophetic ministry but also the social, human and economic development of its people. The conference spoke on the SOBIC conference coming on September this year in Nigeria. The SOBIC conference hoped to bring together ministers of the gospel who were trained and raised by the late Archbishop Benson Idahosa and how to maximize the huge prospect of social media to propagate the gospel to reach especially the youth. Speaking on the impact of the late Archbishop Benson Idahosa, the vice chairman of the All Nations for Christ Bible Institute International Alumni Global International, Apostle Dr. Kwesi Robertson, said late Benson Idahosa has impacted the growth of charismatic ministries all over the world.
There's no continent of the world that you have gone to that you will not see a preacher from somewhere asking you a question about Idahosa. Idahosa died 20-something years ago, but Idahosas are here. Idahosas are here. I mean, there's no way that one of us will start off to preach that somebody will not ask us, are you from? Are you from? You preach like, you talk like, you lay hand like, and you also collect offering like.
The founder and general overseer of Gospel Light International, Bishop Matthew Adai-Mensah, admonished succeeding generation of ministers to emulate the exploits and humility of Benson Idahosa.
Now, if you missed some of the past week's major stories, here's an opportunity to catch up in pictures.